Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.
Democracy runs on several wheels, and one of the wheels of democracy that cannot be compromised is that of having a credible election. And how do you determine whether an election is credible? You determine the credibility of an election by the degree of acceptability of the results by the populace and the international benchmark that we have for conducting elections every time. Nigeria is not an island. We are about the 4th largest democracy in the world, the largest democracy in Africa, and we should be seen to be the torchbearer, to be the standard, standard of elections. If not in any other place in Africa, we should be. So if our elections do not progress in a manner that makes the world see us as very concerned about all the negative issues we have had, ballot boxes, hijacking, thuggery, manipulation of results, withholding of results, declaring results inconclusive. If we do not progress beyond that in 2023, it will be very unfortunate. In fact, to make us laughable, not only laughable to the rest of the world, but laughable to our own children who are growing in an internet age. And I continue to ask the question, who is afraid of technology? Now, if you want to know, the Independent National Electoral Commission is having an online registration of voters as we speak. As at the last count, we have had about 240,000 new voters in Nigeria registering online, applying the same technology. President Umaru Yar'Adua, a PDP president, came on board to declare that the election that brought him in 2011 fell short of international standards and set in motion a process of cleaning up the system and making it more transparent. And that was what gave us the use of the smart card reader for elections and other innovations that we had. A President Goodluck Jonathan came and appointed a man he had never met in his life, Professor Atahiru Jega, as the INEC national chairman. Now, we should be going forward. We want President Muhammadu Buhari to do something he will also be remembered for as a man who led the process of improving on our elections. And there is no better time or better way for him to do that than now. And I want to assure you that in the National Assembly, I have not seen the report of the harmonized report of the Electoral Amendment Bill, but I want to assure you that a vast majority of members of that House are interested in that report and will vote in line with the will of Nigerians on this matter.
Nigerians may not necessarily share Bamidele's, sentiments about the National Assembly wanting to do right, by them when it comes to the amendment of this electoral bill. Needless to say, this is why we're seeing the protests that we're seeing by civil society. Then a lot of Nigerians are talking, about the bill, the Section 50 subsection 2 that has removed the transmission of results. So what is your own response to this?
Okay, I start by saying that I support most of the things that Prof said, and it's also heartwarming to hear the Honorable here saying that majority of the members of the National Assembly who want to do what the people want. Because looking back, we've not actually seen them doing what the people want, and we have really been concerned. Because starting last week, Thursday, no one expected that with all the opposition to the nomination of Lauretta Onochie, that the Senate will even bother to screen her. But they went ahead and dumped, and the arrogance is what is actually very annoying from the both from the executive and legislature. It was just, damn, go to her if you don't like what we are doing. But it's also important to let them know that this democracy or civilian rule they're enjoying was not cheap. People died in the streets of Lagos across the country for it to be, and they are enjoying. And many of them that are enjoying it were in their private business, enjoying what they were doing. They never bothered. They were enjoying the military rule. And now they have made so much. Many of them would have died as poor people who would never have owned a bicycle or house. But they are very seriously rich now. And the least they can give to us is credible elections. We go out to train voters, come and vote. They say that our votes don't count because we have seen evidence that the votes do not count. And we have seen this electronic transfer of results from the polling unit, the Central Correction Center, that it worked in Edo. And that was the difference that makes the difference in Edo governorship election, though without legal backing last year. So we are saying that if it can happen in Edo, it's possible to happen across the country. And if many of them are afraid of coming back, because many of them came through league elections, are afraid of coming back, they can start now working for the people. Nigerians are the most interested kind of people across the group. You can impress with the borehole. If you just come and dig borehole, everybody will start singing your praises. If they can go reconnect to the people, they don't talk to us. We are not important. And the democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. They are there because all of us cannot be in that National Assembly. And they have to be people representing us. That's the beginning of democracy. And we collectively surrendered our mandate to them to represent us. Whether they came through league election or the transparent one, they are now representing us. And if you are representing us, when you represent us, you connect to us and give us a feedback. And we encourage you to do more. That's why I like the mention of recall that Professor said. But it's also very cumbersome and tedious to do recall. And when you have a commission that you cannot actually trust, it will be very difficult to do recall. And we are saying, we also saw it in the case of Senator Dino Morai, that despite everything, it never worked. Despite the resources put into it. We want to actually ask the National Assembly, you have not represented the people. That's why we have the poverty capital in the world. And you have not represented us. That's why our education system is in shambles. You have not represented us. That's why health system, health service driven is the lowest across the globe. And now I keep on saying it in this station and other stations, and I will keep on saying it. 22 years after our democracy, we still have the highest maternal mortality rate in the whole of Africa, second globally after India that has over 1 billion population. And we should actually cry and weep for it. And the child mortality is also high, fifth across the globe. And our democracy 22 years after. But we have so many beautiful buildings by our representatives. We have beautiful jeeps and all that. We are saying, you can actually work for the people. People are not asking for too much. What we are asking, we need transparent process and we need transparent election. And one of the ways to get it is to give us transmission of results from polling units to the correction server that we, as we are voting, is reporting. And it will reduce a lot of things. It will reduce thuggery. It will reduce all the violence that goes on in the polling units, snatching of ballot boxes, even at the area collection center. Because once they snatch, it is useless for them. Nobody will want to snatch. So it's going also to reduce so many things. Corruption, for the people to know that if you do this, it will be useless in your hands. Yeah. So nobody will want to do thuggery. Nobody will want to kill and neck officials. Nobody will want to destroy anything. We are saying this is the way to go. Give us this. Transmit results. But when you do electronically, identify people who register to vote, why stopping at the transmission of the results electronically? What's stopping them? All right. And already ANEC told us they have actually ordered for machine, and that machine has to walk through all the process. So if you stop the process at the transmission of result, then they need other money to do other machines, which is not good for this economic situation we found ourselves. Right. We need to have our National Assembly to listen to us, and their work will follow them. This is the worst National Assembly we've ever had. All right,
we'll continue on that engagement. But Mr. Salam, let's look at what some of the senators are actually saying, because I mean, this allegation of tampering with what the technical committee did in terms of transmission of election results is really placed on the floor of some members of the Senate Committee. Senator Ali Ndume is quoted as saying that the inclusion of electronic voting and transmission of results electronically in the Electoral Amendment Bill will not work in some places, especially in the northern parts of the country. And he's saying he's going to disenfranchise his people in Borno State, for instance, if such is implemented, because the environment, the technical environment, I think I'll qualify what he was trying to say there, does not support that kind of innovation at this time.
Well, with due respect to the distinguished Senator Ali Ndume, I think that statement is not the fact. It's not, with due respect to him, again, it's not the truth. I traveled very wide in Nigeria. Just a few weeks ago, I was in a town called Yauri in Kebbi State. I've been to several parts of Borno State.
That's where the students were kidnapped last month.
Just shortly before this student kidnapping, were there to commiserate with the emir on the boat mishap on the River Niger. What I'm saying is that virtually everywhere in Nigeria today, we have a very, very effective internet penetration. Of course, you can always have failure of the system, and it happens everywhere. And that is why, you always have a backup. Senator Dube will not tell me that he doesn't send money to people in his constituency. And he does that most often, electronically. These are some of the, technology that also work with the internet. Today, Nigeria has about over 80 million registered voters, with a population of 200 million people. India, that has over 1 billion, like my sister actually said, introduced electronic voting so many years ago before we did. And of course, they also have some of these challenges that we always claim, we have a power shortage, internet problems, and what have you. What I think the political class in Nigeria needs to imbibe more is the spirit of nationalism, the spirit of looking at tomorrow, not just at today. If you think about the fact that, yes, you benefit from a system today and forget about the larger implications on tomorrow, you kill in that same system. And who knows, the person who is the greatest advocate or opponent of a system today which will be better for democracy may eventually be the greatest beneficiary of that same system. So Nigeria today has an internet penetration of almost 90 million persons are internet users in Nigeria, smartphones everywhere. That excuse is not valid. What we need to do as a country is to ensure that if we allow for electronic transmission of results, it still does not stop the manual collation. So you have the manual collation as a backup. But the fact that you have a system that is guaranteed to ensure greater credibility. It was adopted in Ondo. It was used in Edo as pilot scheme. And the Independent National Electoral Commission itself has given us an indication that it has the capacity to transmit results electronically. So if anybody is afraid of that, we must ask questions about why the person is afraid. What exactly do you have to fear about that? If people are credited, electronically, and they cast their vote, and we are collating that result electronically, why must we break the transmission? For what purpose?
Honorable Bamidele, you just said, who's afraid of technology? You said so at the beginning. You have said it again. But arguments like this, like the one, the senator is advancing, is some of the kind of arguments.
It's not the senator that's advancing it. It's a senator.
The senator.
Oh, okay,
I didn't say the Senate.
Okay.
I said that the senator is advancing.
Yes.
It's some of the kind of primordial sentimental arguments that we see sometimes and are wondering, and some of these sentiments gain ground sometime and gain support sometime, and it affects the proceedings moving forward. So if you are talking, if we're talking about this kind of shortfalls, again, there can easily be solution. People are educated during electioneering, periods. They are taught how to use their vote. They are taught where to stamp their fingers. People who are illiterate, even to use the ballot papers, a lot of people are still shown and taught what to do. So if this really is a problem, is it a problem without a solution?
It's not a problem without a solution. Let me give you an example. Kano State today has the second highest voters population. And if you look at the election pattern in Kano State, it's one state that needs to be studied by Nigeria, because it's a state where they have a very high level of, sensitivity and voter education. People can go in Kano State in an election, the same election with 3 ballot papers, and vote for Party A in one election, Party B in the other election, and Party C in the third election. And you have results from the same polling unit indicating winnings across political parties. It's an indication that, and of course you wouldn't tell me that the literacy level in Kano is so high or outstanding. But like Riley said, there is a lot of voter education that happens during the election campaign that must happen as a part of the duties of political parties and the civil society.
Perhaps political literacy is higher there.
Yeah, political literacy. Absolutely. And what I'm saying is that the average that you have anywhere in Nigeria is not below that average of people. And what are we even talking about? The transmission of result is not the responsibility of the voter. The voter's responsibility ends at the thumb printing and the dropping of the ballot paper. We have our young Nigerians who are members of the NYSC, who are employed as electoral officers, as presiding officers, who have received the best education Nigeria can provide them, who are to be saddled with this assignment of collation of results and using those technology and machines to transmit the results. And like I have said, if, for example, or for instance, barring any unforeseen circumstance, there is a break, there is a means where such results are stored in cloud or in other software that will allow it to be transmitted electronically as soon as you have the use of the internet. And like I said, in Nigeria today, there is virtually no part of this country that can claim it does not have internet penetration. Absolutely none, and I stand to be challenged.
Yeah, he was particularly referring to electricity. I mean, that most parts of the north and in his own state, Borno State, do not have enough electricity.
The devices have backup batteries that can last up to 27 hours. The devices that I use up to 27 hours.
And there are generating sets. Sometimes
that
the
can power
electoral
these devices. So what are we talking about?
I'm
not sure that holds water.
Probably Senator Ndume would have to get some more education on what you're talking about, and maybe he will change his views. But Maudi, we talked about the CSOs and the demands you're making, because it's one thing to say, like Mr. Salam said, that the National Assembly will do the right thing in line with the wishes of the people. But when it comes to the voting proper, the clause-by-clause consideration of the bill, there's always something different. That we've seen what happened with the PIB during the votes for the PIB and the passage of the clauses in the PIB. Civil societies have said you don't want voice voting.
We don't. Actually, that is even corruption. It's even corruption.
Honorable Bamidele is laughing.
Yes, Bamidele will have to respond to that, because there's been allegations on the National Assembly that this House of Representatives and even the Senate have e-voting. This e-voting we are talking about.
Yes.
You can vote electronically independently from your seats in the Senate and in the House of Reps.
Sure.
But you have never used it.
No.
You're going to explain to us why that has never happened.
Never. It's happening. We have not used it in the 9th Assembly. Maybe that's what you mean. Because we have not actually had very critical and controversial bills. And let me tell you something.
But this is one.
Yeah, no. The rules of the House allows for members who are dissatisfied by the ruling of the presiding officer on which side has it, the ayes or the nays, to call for a division. If there is a decision by the speaker that the ayes have it, when of course the nays have it, a member of the House has the right by our rules to call for a division.
A division was called for when the PIB was considered
not
in the
Senate. House of Representatives.
No, not in the House, in the Senate.
Well, I'm not a member of the Senate. I don't know what happened. But
and nothing happened.
I know if it
they
happens
shouted
in the
him
House
down,
of Reps,
and the man had to sit down.
If it happens in the House of Reps, the Speaker will abide by the rule, which is to call for a division. That is.
But why would there even be an yes or nays when you have e-voting to get the accurate figures?
We must please. I want us to put this in proper perspective. Now, look at the number of motions and bills and issues that we consider on a daily basis. If you have to take every motion using the e-voting device, you will not even leave the house in about.
How long does it take?
No, it takes a lot of time. No. If you raise and who does the counting, that's even more controversial than the voice vote.
Okay.
The voice vote ordinarily, should be apparent. But there are many cases where it doesn't become apparent. You don't even know which side has it. And like I said, as a member, you have a right to say, okay, I disagree with the ruling of the presiding officer, and I call for a division. And that at that point, a division can take any form. It can take the division of splitting the house. It can be by using of the electronic, voting device. And on the consideration of this INEC Act, if it becomes necessary for us to call for, a division, we will surely call for it on any clause, for that matter. So I want to, to bring up the issue of corruption in terms of the voice vote. That is the international practice. Everywhere in the world, they do the ayes or the nays. And where there are contentions on which side has it, you can call for a division, and it can take any form.
Ma, why do you say it's a fraud?
It is fraud because I've watched them and they will say A's have it when you clearly didn't hear the A's. And we are saying that.
Madam, you're watching on television.
What we are advocating for is that they should allow people to vote. One,
yeah,
very important.
I support that.
Very important.
I support that. On a bill as important as this,
I want to see where my own representative from my own constituency, where his allegiance lies,
yes.
Whether it's with the people or with the executive or with the leadership of the National Assembly. This is very critical. We don't want the A's to have it because we have seen it that it has never worked. A National Assembly that is very particular about their own status and integrity should actually start by saying, and I want to remind you, we keep on having rigged the election in Nigeria, and a military rule came and did something different.
Just a minute, ma. Let me just throw this in. Yeah, you will. Let me just.
I have to finish my thought. Because in this country, when you want to change things that are not right, you have to do things differently. And then there was option A4 brought in, and we recorded the freest elections so far. And people queue and now say, this is whom I'm voting for. We need that in this National Assembly. Because and it is in their own interest. Because the people do not know them anymore. If they see them every day, people are abusing them. They are not representing their tips, they all that. They call them legislators. So this is the first time to start doing the things that the people say, they have changed. Start by asking who voted, who is supporting this. Let's know who is working against transparent elections. And if my own representative worked against it, I will raise my voice, and I will call other people to raise their voices against our representative that is not doing what we want. Because it is high time we start calling them out. And we can start naming and shaming and say, this is not what we want. You are representing us. You are being fed with our collective resources. And nothing is coming to us. The little we need, you are not giving us. You have to, even if we can't record them, we can actually make them uncomfortable. That will change them to start working for Nigeria and the interests of Nigeria and Nigerians. If you are not working for Nigeria, what if anything happens to the country? Will you still be registration? Why are you always working for your pocket, for your godfathers, and for the executive? Even in the state assemblies, they are working for godfathers, for executives, and for their own pockets. Nobody has bothered about Nigeria and Nigeria. This is the first time to work for Nigeria. We don't want A's have it and Nans have it. We want class by class. We want to see people who vote and who they are voting for.
I'm sure Babi Dele Salam is not working for his pockets. He's working for his constituency. Somebody sent a feedback. Somebody sent a feedback just now, which I want to take you up now. And the person is saying, and let me even ask you, there was a popular television program called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You used to watch it. Yes, please. And there used to be a instant voting on subject matters on that program. And in this country, yes. And it was actually, I think, 15 years ago. So we've progressed tremendously between 15 years ago and now. And when the voting is done by people who are in the audience, instantly, the result is out. Yes. And you are saying that the voting in the National Assembly, the result would be a bit cumbersome. Please, can you explain that?
No. You need to get me very well. Now, if you have a bill that has up to, let's say, 250 clauses, on each of the clauses, you need to take a vote. And on each of the clauses, you will need a tally of the votes. I'm saying that, for instance, let me give you one instance. one of the clauses in this bill is to change the name of the act itself from the Electoral Act to the Independent National Electoral Commission Act 2021. Now, that doesn't appear to be a controversial matter. If you take a voice vote on that, you are likely to be able to determine on the face value of the voice vote who has it. But when you come to issues of the nitty-gritty, especially on this matter of the electronic transmission of result and the issue of the campaign funding and all these other very issues,
88.
you are very sure that you're going to have a very close tie where it will be possible to ask for a breaking of the tie by calling for a division. Now, there's nothing wrong given in starting off. We can use the whole day. We can even use 2 days to vote clause by clause because of the importance Nigerians attach to this bill. I am in for that.
My point is the feedback is saying that e-voting on clauses, on bills in the National Assembly is going to take time is it doesn't even stand.
Of course it stands. I mean,
because all it takes is for you to press it. You have it right in front of your seat. You press it and automatic tabulation takes place.
You are talking about
everybody knows
where you have only one issue, not where you have several issues, several clauses. But that's I don't even want us to deviate from the most important issue that we are discussing. The most important issue we are discussing is to know where each person stands on an issue like this. When the 8th Assembly considered, the 6th or 7th Assembly considered the issue of the third term bill.
And we saw it.
Everybody knew where each person voted. When the consideration of the amendment of the Constitution happened in the last Assembly, they used the electronic voting. We knew where each person stood. And I want to assure you that if that is what will give an indication of where people stand on this matter, we are going to call for it.
All right.
Because the devices are there. And we must use it. But like I said, the bigger picture that every politician and public office holder must look at is Nigeria in 10, 15, 20 years. Like she said, without Nigeria, without stability, without peace, without security, will there be a National Assembly? Right. And without a credible, free and fair election, will there be an institution like the National Assembly? Of course, there will be none. So we look at that larger picture to ensure that my own constituents have sent me so many messages. I receive email. In fact, over any other matter since I came here 2 years ago, I've received email messages from my constituents, WhatsApp messages on this electoral bill, and I will act in line with what they want.
Mr. Salam, before we go, I want to bring.
I mean, it's still a mister.
Yeah, he's also a mister. So I've been calling honorable all along. Perfect. Anyway. I'm bringing this to you. Mma mentioned it earlier, and she asked. She was surprised that the Senate would screen Lauretta Onochie after all of the hue and cry about her nomination.
Okay, screening a person is different from confirming the person. You see, the Constitution, places a responsibility on the Senate and places a responsibility on the executive. The executive role is to send in a nomination. At that point, the Senate has no option by the law of Nigeria. She must be screened. But she may not be confirmed. And I think she should not be confirmed because she's not fit. She's not proper. She's not eligible to occupy that position.
Mr.
Not
Salam.
Only by morals, but by the spirit of the Nigerian Constitution and the law.
Mr. Salam, I get the point you're making. I get the point.
That is what the Constitution says.
I get the point you're making in terms of giving the person fair hearing. But let me ask, hypothetically, say the president sends a nomination comes in from the executive for an appointment such as this, and it turns out the person is a European and not a Nigerian.
Absolutely.
Would the Senate still give the person fair hearing, which on the face of it, you know that this person is not qualified?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
Would you go ahead and go to court?
You arrest a man slaughtering a fellow human being. The cameras are there, and you take him to court. The court will not jail him. They will ask him, are you guilty or not? He says he's not guilty. They ask him to enter his defense. Now, even if they bring a European to this hypothesis, the Senate will ask the person and ask the proper questions. It is in the report of the committee. The committee itself does not even have power to either confirm or not confirm. It's the Senate in plenary that has that power. It is in the report of the committee that they will indicate that having done A, B, C as required by law, we have found this person not qualified to occupy this position. And that is what the Senate in plenary will vote over. And I think in the Lauretta Onochie's case, I want to appeal to the Senate. I respect the Senate. It's a very important arm of government, and I am not imputing any ill motive into their action, but I want to urge them to please, for the sake of democracy, for the sake of Nigeria, reject the nomination of Lauretta Onochie, because by all indications, from all the facts available, she does not fit into the requirement of a person to hold that office as stated by the Nigerian Constitution and by morality. And I think we'll be doing ourselves a lot of disservice if we go ahead to confirm that nomination against all these available facts.
Ma, what can the people do to, make sure that Lauretta Onochie does not become an INEC, a National Electoral Commissioner?
The people are doing what they should be doing. You can see everybody. It has been a topical issue discussed. Everybody is shouting, this person will just destroy what we have been trying to build. Mm-hmm. This INEC and democracy is, the Senate is constitutionally, is a provision of the Constitution. Mm. If there is no Constitution, there will be no Senate. And if the Senate does not abide by the Constitution, then they are also not even useful. So if they go ahead to confirm Lauretta Onochie, who is bound by the Constitution from being an INEC commissioner, that means they have stood on the Constitution. And also means that because it's a Constitution that may empower them to be distinguished senators for me to bow, which means because they do not recognize the Constitution, their own place is not there. Mm. So it is a relationship, because they have to obey the law. And the last time I checked, their job of the legislature is to make laws and to do oversight on the executive. And they have not done the oversighting work very well. Mm. And now, if you decide to become an arm of the executive, the main purpose of you being there is defeated. You have no business there. And if you go ahead to confirm somebody that is not eligible, constitutionally, legally, is not there. Morality is not there. There is no integrity. And we said there is an independent commission we want to build to guarantee free, fair, and credible elections. If you want to confirm her today, and also to ensure that bad laws enter into the Electoral Act, because we want to win election in 2 years' time. But adventure, you are not in good book of the Godfather in the state, and you didn't win election. You suddenly become an activist in 2 years' time. We will not forget. We will bring it to your table and say you fed the people when they needed you.
That is why you are insisting on the records of voting. So you can identify who voted what. To know who is going to vote for
acceptance and the approval and confirmation of Lauretta Onochie. We want to hear those who vote. We want to know those who want to destroy INEC. We want to know those who want to ensure that we don't have credible election. Somebody that is partisan, somebody that has no clue and is not interested in integrity, who can lie in the morning and say different things in the evening. We don't want such a person in INEC. We want INEC is gradually trying to redeem itself. We want them to be marching and winning and falling and moving forward. We can see that they are making effort. We want people who can help them to become what we want. Right. We don't want people who will destroy what they have actually tried to achieve.
Thank you.